Oh, you still look as poor as ever. I'm marrying the chairman's son of S Corporation. I could invite you to the wedding as an old classmate. But please, don't wear that shabby suit. It's embarrassing. My ex, Lisa, whom I met again after 10 years at a class reunion, said this to me in a condescending tone. I was taken aback by how my ex still seemed to be only interested in money and status. At that moment, my best friend's girlfriend angrily interrupted. Do you even know how much he makes a year? $5 million. What? No way. Stop telling embarrassing lies. If that's true, then why is he wearing such a cheap suit? I calmly explained the situation to Lisa. She ended up feeling deeply embarrassed. I'm Kevin. 28 years old. I live alone in the suburbs of New York. I live in my family home, but my parents have moved to Southeast Asia, so they're not around. The house is quite large for just me. There are many rooms and the yard is excessively big. It used to be a small construction company and residence, so the lot is enormous. There was even a small dormitory for live-in workers in the yard. The yard, which can easily accommodate trucks and heavy machinery, used to look like a playground. But now, there are no employees or heavy machinery. All that's left is my small car. The empty house is often quiet, with only the sounds of birds and insects, making it quite lonely. Today, I'm wearing work overalls and weeding the yard. Because of the heavy rain yesterday, the ground is muddy, and I'm covered in dirt. But if I don't keep up with the maintenance, the yard will become unusable. Since there's no one else, I have to do it myself. Ouch. After bending over for so long, my back started to hurt. When I stood up and stretched, I saw the overcast early summer sky. There were no breaks in the clouds, making it a gloomy day. Days like this can be pretty depressing. Today, when I took out my work clothes from the dresser, I was reminded of my ex-girlfriend from my student days. She would never wear work clothes and would probably say they looked tacky. Lisa was, to put it simply, a woman who loved money. She started dating me because my parents owned a company. When we were first-year high school students and in the same class for only 3 days, she confessed to me. Kevin, I'm Lisa. Your family owns K Construction, right? You're the future president. I love rich guys. Please go out with me. It was a bold confession. She said it in the classroom, in front of all our classmates. Everyone, including myself, was frozen, not quite understanding what she had just said. It was so straightforward that it didn't sink in immediately. But I quickly burst out laughing and responded to Lisa. Ha ha. Sure, let's go out, Lisa. Lisa was incredibly cute. She was exactly my type. Cute and straightforward seemed like a great combination to me. Even now, I haven't changed much, but back in high school, I was really simple-minded. My family was well off, school was fun, and I had no worries, so I was relaxed. When we started dating, Lisa always had somewhat excessive requests, but I had no trouble fulfilling them and bought her whatever she wanted. I even liked her shopping habits. Eventually, we became a well-known couple at school. Sometimes, my friends would say, Kevin, how many bags have you bought for Lisa? How many bags does a girl need to be satisfied? They get bored so quickly. I'd save the money instead. Isn't it a waste? But I always thought Lisa was right. Money is meant to be spent, not saved. Since I didn't have much to spend on myself, I enjoyed seeing her delighted face when she spent money freely. However, when the money ran out, I realized that happiness came from having the luxury to spend. When I was a senior in high school, my father's company faced a significant downturn. At that moment, Lisa quickly broke up with me. I can't be with someone who has no money or future. Even love dries up under those conditions. You understand, right? Goodbye, Kevin. I knew the economy had been gradually worsening, but K Construction handled not only general construction but also civil engineering projects. Civil engineering involves infrastructure projects like roads, bridges, and tunnels, rather than buildings and apartments handled by general construction. These infrastructure projects are usually commissioned by the government or municipalities. So, I thought we were safe. However, my father was outmaneuvered by a rival company and lost a crucial contract. My parents, disliking conflict, gave up on recovering the project or suing the almost fraudulent rival company. Unable to fire any employees, they kept paying everyone while taking on small projects, even as the business went into the red. This couldn't last long, and when the competent employees sensed the company's danger, they left one by one. By the time I graduated high school, only the trainees from Southeast Asia remained. Seeing my parents struggling to keep the company going, I decided not to go to the private university I could have easily advanced to. I planned to help out at home, find something I wanted to study, and take the National University entrance exam next year. At the graduation ceremony, Lisa was quite spiteful. How pitiful. Everyone else is moving up to the university, but you're stuck with just a high school diploma because you have no money. It's so uncool. I don't want anyone to think you were my ex. I was sadder than I expected when Lisa and I broke up, but by graduation, I was calm. She was already dating another rich guy, and I realized we lived in different worlds now. I liked spending money and I liked her. But she didn't need me, she only liked the money. That's fundamentally wrong. I looked away from the cloudy sky and surveyed the barren, expansive yard. If Lisa saw this lifeless yard, she'd definitely say, "How pitiful." And she'd probably call my muddy overalls uncool too. Enough. Thinking about a girl who doesn't understand the basics of life just brings me down. I went back to the weeding. 3 days later, after finishing the weeding in the yard, I got a call from a high school classmate at night. Sean was the guy who used to tell me to save money instead of buying bags. He went on to college, but he still kept in touch occasionally, inviting me out to unwind. Since my breakup with Lisa, he has introduced me to several women. None of them liked me, so my streak of being single continued. He now worked at a major company in the city, enjoying both work and love life. From what he said, other classmates were also working at good companies. "Kevin, are you free tonight? There's a girl I think you'd like. She's 2 years older than us, but don't worry about that. Let's grab a drink near the station. Come on out." I showered, changed into my casual clothes, and biked to the station. As soon as I entered our usual cheap, old bar, he called out to me. "Hey, Kevin, over here. How about a draft beer to start?" Next to Sean was a glamorous beauty. While Sean was ordering, the beauty gave me a slight nod, and I nodded back. Man, Sean. He always brings these glamorous women here, which can be a bit troublesome. All the women Sean had introduced me to before were sophisticated and stylish, like the beauty before me. They would smile in this rundown bar but often seemed eager to leave, barely touching their drinks or food. "Okay, drinks are here. Let me introduce you. This is Kevin, my high school buddy. And this is Hannah." I met her at a bar, and we hit it off. Hannah smiled, holding a mug of draft beer like us. She was a classic beauty, and it was easy to see why Sean approached her at the bar. We toasted and began a somewhat confusing drinking session. To my surprise, Hannah downed a large mug of beer in one go and immediately ordered, "Next, a bottle of wine, please." Her drinking style was unexpected given her appearance. "Kevin, isn't Hannah interesting?" "She looks so delicate, but she's quite the drinker," Sean said. Hannah, smiling even more broadly, then asked me, "Kevin, did I scare you off?" I gave her my honest opinion. "Not at all. You looked like you really enjoyed your beer. You must like drinking." Hannah, looking pleased, ordered a glass for me and poured me some wine. I'm not much of a drinker, and mixing drinks gives me a headache later, but I thought, why not, and toasted with Hannah. Hannah enjoyed not just the alcohol but also happily ate all the appetizers. I realized that Hannah was different from the other women Sean had brought here before. Sean always chose this cheap, shabby bar for our meetings because it was affordable, and the place was usually devoid of women. The wine was cheap, and the snacks were old-fashioned, like monkfish liver and whale bacon. Most typical women prefer more stylish places and trendy food and drinks. They subtly hint at changing venues, and that's usually when we part ways. But Hannah was having fun, moving from wine to hot sake, to a hoppy, and now to a red-eye punch. I quietly asked Sean, "Where did you meet such an unusual girl, and how did this happen?" "At a bar in downtown Manhattan." That night, after drinking a lot, we went to a ramen shop, then to another bar. And she was in good spirits until morning. It never turned into a typical adult evening. I thought she might suit you. If she doesn't mind this bar, you two might get along. I thought Sean had a point. After all, I couldn't take her to expensive places. I no longer lived the life of freely spending money on women like I used to. However, whether Hannah and I would get along was another matter. She was beautiful and unpretentious, which was great. But she also frequented bars in downtown Manhattan. Our lifestyles might be fundamentally different. Kevin. Hannah suddenly spoke to me. She seemed very happy but not drunk. What's up, Hannah? Want to order something else? The fried chicken here is good. It's a bit greasy, but it tastes great. If you don't mind the calories, you should try it. Hannah laughed even more cheerfully after hearing my response. Then please order the fried chicken. So, to get straight to the point, Kevin, would you go out with me? Sean has told me about your past. It seems I was destined to be suddenly confessed to by women. But I don't think I can afford to take you to bars in downtown Manhattan anytime soon. When I gave that disappointing response, Hannah laughed again and said, If I pay, will you go with me? I have plenty of money to spend. What I lack is someone like you, Kevin, who is kind and seems to share my values. I have good intuition. I think we'd get along well. If she knew everything about me from Sean and still wanted to date me, I had no reason to refuse. Hannah was beautiful and down to earth. It was actually an honor. We ended up dating that very night, going from the bar to a ramen shop and finally drinking until morning at my house. Even though we had just met, we hit it off exceptionally well. After that, Hannah often came to my suburban house, helping me clean up the yard or the abandoned dormitory. At night, we'd drink and talk about our future. Hannah's grandfather was the chairman of a major corporation, and her parents were the president. The company made massive profits and was still growing. But Hannah didn't agree with the company's management policies. Employees work so hard they're damaging their health, and so do the subcontractors. A company shouldn't exist to exploit people's hardships. It should exist to make someone happy. But when I kept saying that, my grandfather kicked me out. Even though she was the eldest daughter, she left home and started her own beauty-related company independently. Her personality of wanting to help people rather than just making money was very similar to mine. Sometimes, we would hang out with Sean's girlfriend, Amy, as a group of 4. Amy had joined the university where most of our high school graduates continued their education. Like Hannah, Amy was a strong woman who could clearly express her opinions. After graduation, she went to grad school and now works in a lab researching incurable diseases. By the way, at the bar, she enjoys eating the somewhat smelly goat soup with great relish. 3 months passed like that. I was in my home office, mulling over things and organizing documents. My parents, who were in Southeast Asia, officially handed over the company to me. Despite everything, the company hadn't gone bankrupt yet. All the heavy machinery and trucks were over there, and for the past few years, my parents had been running the business on a smaller scale in Southeast Asia. While I was preparing for college entrance exams, my parents, who were troubled by the business in New York, decided to take a cheap trip to Thailand for a change of pace. They found a good opportunity there. Since we had no contracts in New York at the time, they decided to move to Thailand and start working there. Apparently, Thailand has a better climate than New York, and the Thai people are very kind, making it a comfortable place to live. The scale of the work they could take on was smaller, but the cost of living was also lower, so it was more relaxed. I visited them a few times, and it seemed like a good fit for my peace-loving parents. Recently, they decided they wanted to fully retire and live a quiet life. So, they talked about passing the company on to me. Since I was dating Hannah, I told them I couldn't take over the company in Thailand. They then said they would close the company. But I argued that it would be a waste to shut down a company that had come this far, especially since we still had the property I was managing. As a result, we agreed that I would take over and try to restart the business at home. The business had once withdrawn from New York, so I had to start from scratch and recruiting employees. Still, I decided to give it a try. During this busy time, I received an invitation to a reunion. It was a notice for a high school class reunion. I had never attended one before. I felt a bit out of place since I didn't go to college with everyone else. And since I always heard about everyone from Sean, I felt no need to attend. But now, since I plan to restart the business here, I thought local connections might be necessary. For the first time, I checked attend and mailed the reply card. The reunion venue was the banquet room of a large hotel in the town center. It's a luxurious hotel often used for wedding receptions and big-name concerts. I wore the one suit I owned, which I had bought from a discount store. I hadn't worn it in a while, and it was a bit baggy. The sleeves and length were somewhat off, giving the impression that the suit was wearing me, but I thought it would be fine. When I entered the venue, it was more upscale than I expected, and everyone was dressed up. Since it had been 10 years since I had seen anyone besides Sean, I couldn't bring myself to talk to those whose faces I vaguely remembered. From them, too, I sensed a kind of hesitation. When I finally joined Sean, Amy was there too. I came along because Sean said it would be fine since I know many people here. "Oh, Amy, you graduated from a similar university, so you should be fine. It's a reunion, after all." When I said this to Amy, she replied, "You should have brought Hannah." "I can call her now if you want." I declined, thinking it would be inappropriate to bring Hannah. Our classmates around Sean noticed me and started talking. "Oh, Kevin, right? It's been ages. You were the only one who didn't go to college. What have you been up to?" I answered each question with a vague well, or so-so. I didn't want to go into too much detail, and I figured my story would take too long. Then, I heard a shrill voice. "Oh, everyone, long time no see." It was Lisa. I hadn't anticipated that she would be here at all. It was a reunion, so of course she would be here, but in my mind, she was already a person from my past. Even so, now that we'd met, I should at least greet her and make some small talk. "Lisa, Kevin is here too." "What? Kevin is here? No way." Lisa noticed me and exclaimed dramatically. I tried to greet her normally. "Long time no see. How have you been?" I realized I knew nothing about Lisa's past 10 years. Sean had never mentioned anything about her either. What should I do? Then she continued the conversation. But her attitude was extremely condescending. "Oh my, you still look as poor as ever. That ill-fitting suit looks terrible. I'm getting married next year to the chairman's son of S Corporation. I might invite you to the wedding as a classmate, but please don't wear that suit. It's embarrassing." I thought to myself how she still loved money just as much. While I was dumbfounded, everyone else started gathering around Lisa with admiration. Marrying the heir to S Corporation. That's incredible, the biggest catch in our school's history. S Corporation is the top trading company in New York now, right? Amazing. I want to be invited to the wedding too. Maybe it could lead to some business connections. Invite me. Pushed to the edge of the circle surrounding Lisa, Amy approached me. "Hey, what is with that woman? Isn't she being incredibly rude to you?" I waved my hand dismissively and explained. "She's my ex. But we all know she's always been like that, so it's no surprise." "Thanks for worrying about me." Amy was still upset, muttering how rude and "that's just unacceptable," while Sean tried to calm her down. The reunion continued to revolve around Lisa. There were video messages from our former teachers, slideshows of old photos, and class trivia competitions, but in everything, Lisa was the center of attention, gradually becoming the de facto representative of our grade. She had always stood out, and this must have been very satisfying for her. However, I just wanted to quietly enjoy the event and the food from the sidelines, but she kept bringing me up, which was annoying. For example, when I was dating Kevin, "Everyone, please forget it. It's embarrassing, so keep it a secret from my husband at the wedding," she said, trying to erase my presence from the photos. Or she'd say, "This bag I had on the school trip was a gift from Kevin. It's such a tacky brand, I hate it now. I wouldn't carry it today." Implying that I had forced the bag on her. I was resigned to it, but Amy, standing next to Sean, kept getting angry for me. "Why did you ever date someone like her, Kevin? It's embarrassing for you." Amy's kindness was enough to console me. Eventually, the organizers announced the next activity. It was to reveal rankings from our old class journals and compare them to our current statuses. For example, they'd reveal the ranking for most likely to become a celebrity, and find out that the top person is now a housewife. In the first category of this activity, an incident occurred. The host, hired from outside, announced, "Let's start with the rankings from freshman year. Each top person will give a comment. First, the ranking for most likely to become a CEO. Third place, James. Second place, Mike. And in first place, Kevin." The spotlight turned to me, and the host enthusiastically tried to hype up the crowd. "Oh, here he is, Kevin. So, are you a CEO now?" What was supposed to be a highlight turned into an incredibly awkward moment. My family was indeed wealthy when I was a freshman, wealthy enough for Lisa to confess to me. But now, everyone except the host knew that wasn't the case anymore. Bathed in the blinding light, with everyone silent, time seemed to drag on. I had no choice but to follow the rules and answer. "I am a CEO now." "Oh wow. That's amazing." Everyone's predictions were spot on. Contrary to the host's high energy, the mood in the room plummeted. At that moment, something happened. Lisa climbed onto the stage where the host stood. Grabbing the microphone from the host, she shouted, "Kevin is a liar. Everyone, there's a filthy liar among us," with the microphone echoing loudly. I and everyone else were stunned. How could she suddenly call me a liar? The host, holding another microphone, suddenly ran over to me. He probably thought it was part of the act. The host held the microphone to my mouth. Lisa stood above us, looking down, waiting for my rebuttal. "I recently officially took over my parents' company, so..." Before I could finish, Lisa's shrill voice interrupted again. "Stop lying. Follow the rules. Everyone, I checked the data from my fiancé's business. Kevin's family company has no business records. Well, that's because the business was conducted in Thailand. Also, isn't it illegal to look at her fiancé's company's secrets? So, everyone, who do you believe? Me or this show-off liar Kevin? Why on earth was Lisa so hostile towards me? What did I ever do to her? Even when we were dating, I let her have her way when we broke up. He ruined my precious youth, and now, after 10 years, he came to ruin this important reunion. Right? Unforgivable, isn't it, everyone? A poor guy lying out of jealousy to ruin my wedding. I see. Lisa had gone through a lot of trouble and stress to secure her advantageous marriage. Her nerves were on edge, and my unexpected presence triggered her. Marrying someone of her status would give her more peace of mind and happiness, but she chose this stressful path. The host seemed to realize this wasn't part of the act. She was sweating profusely while holding the microphone to my mouth. I was about to ask them to turn off the spotlight because it was too hot. However, Amy took the microphone next. "Hello, I'm Amy. I mostly associated with the science majors in college. I didn't know you, Lisa, but this is too much. Kevin is indeed a CEO." Lisa, on the stage, looked incredulous. Amy continued without pause. "Lisa, do you know his income? He makes $5 million a year. What? No way." The spotlight went off, and the general lighting returned. While everyone had been watching Lisa earlier, now they were all looking at me. What Amy said was true. After the foreign trainees were the only ones left at my parents' company, I had created a translation device to help them. Given my ample free time. Initially, it was a large device that only worked for their language in English. But I then went to a national university's engineering department, studied more, and by graduation, I had developed an earbud-sized device supporting multiple languages. When my parents decided to stay in Thailand, it was under the condition that my invention was available. Now, it's an app used on various smartphones. Thankfully, this invention provided me with a high income. Everyone has used the simultaneous translation app, right? Kevin invented it. He also took over his parents' company and is its CEO. So, he's not lying. With Amy's explanation, everyone started buzzing, saying, "I use it, and it's essential for my job." Lisa looked flustered on stage. However, she didn't stop talking. That's a lie. If that's true, then why are you wearing such a cheap suit?
I took the microphone from Amy and began explaining. I donate all my income, except for the bare minimum I need to live.
Money is meant to be spent. Since I don't have anything I want to spend it on, I give it all to organizations that need it. I used to spend money on you, Lisa. If that ruined your youth, I'm sorry. But I only bought what you asked for.
Applause started somewhere in the room and soon spread throughout. Lisa stood there, her face red with embarrassment. I felt a bit sorry for her, but I needed to clear my name to avoid future business problems in the community, so I didn't extend a hand to help her. When the applause died down and the classical music resumed, everyone waited for her to say something. I saw someone approaching Lisa, who stood on the stage with an angry and troubled expression.
It was the host. Being a professional, I thought he might be able to change the tense atmosphere. But then, I saw another person, a woman, following him onto the stage. It was Hannah.
I looked at Sean in surprise, and he explained apologetically, Amy called her.
She arrived a moment ago, saw the commotion, and asked the host if she could speak. Hannah was handed the microphone by the host and began to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the interruption. My name is Hannah. I'm Kevin's wife.
What? Lisa's voice, holding the microphone with both hands, echoed throughout the hall.
Hannah and I had gotten married last month. We quickly realized we were perfect for each other.
We held a small, simple ceremony with just our families. When I met her family, they were all kind and refined people. Although Hannah had differences in business philosophy with her family, she managed well as part of the family. We received blessings from both sides.
Lisa, you are my husband's ex.
And currently, you are engaged to my brother.
Huh? You're my sister-in-law? Everyone was riveted by the exchange between Lisa and Hannah. My grandfather is the founder of S Corporation.
My brother, Noah, will likely become the next president.
Though I am the eldest daughter,
I have completely stepped away from the business. Therefore, it's up to my brother to choose his partner who will support him in business.
So, you came here personally to give your blessing?
Lisa's previously defeated demeanor shifted to one of arrogance as she looked dreamily at Hannah.
But Hannah remained expressionless, like a mask.
I cannot acknowledge you as my brother's partner, Lisa.
If the business fails, would you publicly harm my brother as you are doing to Kevin now? That would never happen. So, if that happens, what will you do for my brother?
Have you studied psychology?
Business management?
It doesn't seem like you've learned how to build relationships either.
Lisa couldn't respond and wore a bitter expression. Lisa? And you know what? Even if you marry my brother, he doesn't have money to spend on your luxuries. His money is the company's money. Do you have any means to earn your own income?
At this, Lisa's face contorted with rage as she screamed.
What? What's the point of being rich if he can't spend it?
That's ridiculous. Then all my efforts to outshine rivals and struggles have been for nothing.
Hannah looked at Lisa sadly and continued. Then I will inform my family that the engagement is off.
Everyone, I apologize for using this venue for personal matters.
Please continue to support Kevin. With that, Hannah stepped off the stage.
For the second time that day, the room erupted in applause, enveloping the sight of Lisa sitting in shock and the speechless host.
A year later, I was at a luxurious hotel banquet hall in the city. Today was Noah's wedding reception.
His bride was not Lisa but a woman who was a junior of Amy's in the economics department. After graduating in economics and studying psychology, she chose to support Noah in his work, abandoning her career. Incidentally, she enjoyed eating boiled pig's feet with her bare hands at that old, shabby bar. Invited as family, Hannah and I, along with Sean and Amy, who were invited as friends, shared the happiness of the day with smiles.
According to Sean, after her engagement was called off,
Lisa set her sights on elite office workers instead of business owners and continued her matchmaking efforts. She was nothing if not resilient. In terms of single-mindedly pursuing her desires, she was the strongest. The food served at the reception was a super high-end French course. It was very delicious. Not just because of the quality of the food,
but because I was eating with people who shared my values. It's okay not to enjoy a rundown bar.
I hoped Lisa would eventually realize the value of just being together and the atmosphere, not just the price.
But I also knew that wasn't my responsibility anymore.
I'm too busy being happy for myself.